Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where I think it's very clear at this point that we've got a bit of an arc here of things that our villagers are willing to build. And it seems to be centered possibly around this Porter Yards range. Specifically, it's green range, I think. You can see the more highlighted portions here. Those are things that are near that are getting built. Things that are not near that are not getting built. So I think that means that this Porter Yard is really out of range of this one. So perhaps what we need then is a Porter Yard that is in good range of both. So if we were to come up over here and build one, say, up this direction, this is not great range up here. It's mediocre range. If we were to bring it here, maybe here? Not quite. Okay. I assumed that the porters from this trading post would build this. They don't appear to be interested in that. So maybe a Porter Yard would need to go out over here? Or maybe we'd need two in order to reach up here. That's a distinct possibility. Another thing we could think about, potentially, is putting in something down over here. Now, there is a little bit of forest over here. Yeah, I definitely assumed that the porters from this trading post would make this okay, or even that we'd be able to reach here. But I think that is slightly out of reach. So that is understood there. That's, I believe, the core problem with what's going on up here in this kind of northeast side of our city. So we definitely need to find a good solution to that. A Porter Yard here. This looks like a good location, actually. We can maybe remove that later once this Porter Yard is built, potentially. I'm also wondering, this is forest here and here? Okay, that's noted. So let's see what happens with this Porter Yard. If we quickly construct this, and then all of these start to construct again, then we know that that was indeed the problem. So we immediately got it started. We're having a bit of a hard time moving the timber up, though, I've been noticing. So we can see this Porter Yard is currently completely empty on timber and clay. We may want additional clay production here. I believe that this is our only clay pit, and that's probably not ideal. Oh, no, there's one up over here. I'm guessing we still want one additional clay pit, and down here is probably a pretty decent place to do it. So we can do this, like that, and get a clay pit in down over here. So that will help produce some of that. I'm also thinking an additional sawyer down over here would not go amiss. So additional timber production down here is probably a useful thing. So that would be, this terrain is blocked out here. We may want to consider having it come in out over this way. Or taking this road down. It would be cutting off these fields a little bit, but we could go around in an awkward fashion like that. And then maybe connecting together the roads here. That's going to take out a couple of trees over here, but that seems reasonably okay. And then if we look at the sawyer here... Well, as a hypothetical, I'm wondering, yeah, so this is not really going to be reaching it there, but it would here. And we'd have access to a good amount of timber down this way. So we'll do that for now. That looks good. Now, the question is, are we going to get this Porter Yard built? I think that the issue here... This requires stone. Okay. I think that the issue here is this Porter Yard does, or rather this trading post does barely reach. This Porter Yard, I believe this is in yellow out over here. But we do have this trading post here. This does not appear to actually be helping. So that's understood. So now that I think about it, this Porter Yard is probably going to be very slow to build. Okay, So we should probably do something about that. Perhaps building a porter yard, like, this really isn't going to want to reach here either. That's also in yellow. We really should have a porter yard, like, here. Indeed. I do wonder, what about a porter yard here? Yes, that wouldn't reach, but as a hypothetical, if we were to take a road like this, and this is all blocked terrain here, but if we did that and we put a porter yard here, what would that look like? Not necessarily ideal. Let's let this road built. That should be relatively quick in theory. But we do have a bit of a lack of portal yards over here. The military levies we owe to Tlatoani has been changed. You must now send 2 spearmen each year and 20 maize per year. Okay, so we would need to do, let's see, that would come from this trading post. Okay, we're already putting maize as tribute. So that sounds okay. As far as this goes, I think we already have that. We must provide military levies for Tlatoani. Is that good? We'll find out. We will find out. Getting the porter situation up over here solved is a big deal, of course. So we got this clay pit built. That looks good. We still need to get this timber. We may even want to have an additional sawyer somewhere down over this way, or maybe up here would be a good spot for a sawyer, actually. So that would be something like this. I don't love that range there. If we put it here, it would have good range. Okay. So something along the lines of that. I don't expect that to get built anytime soon because of the lack of porters. But now that this road is not actually built because of these 2 lake tiles. So what we would end up needing then, where's that bridge? There is a bridge in here somewhere that I'm not currently seeing. Here it is, wooden bridge. So wooden bridge there, that would not actually work. Okay, so we're gonna have to connect these via a regular road a bit like that. Okay, sure. So that seems okay for right now. And then if we hypothetically put a porter yard here, yeah, see, that's still in yellow up over there. That's a difficult range right there. And it's because this porter yard is just a little too far away. So how can we get a connection from this stuff down here and our general porter yards over here up over to here? That's the question we need to ask here. We could go around this way. That's just out of range for that porter yard, though, because of this lack of connection right here. So we could take out one of these tiles of forest and put a road in here, and then this porter yard would have a solid connection there. So we could do a connection there, and then we can put in a porter yard here, and that would get a connection to this porter yard. This one is actually 1 unit too far away, though. So we need to remove this, or at least we need to move it to be like right up over here. But for now, removal is, I think, the way to go. So we'll do that for the moment. We need to move this slightly further this direction. It's an awkward path, but it should be a doable one. So I believe that's the issue. You can see that there's very much kind of an arc here of where our things are being built. So we're currently removing this porter yard, which this person is working on it. There we go. And now what we want to do is we want to put another porter yard right here instead, where that's not going to be just out of range, because this was like here. Actually, it wasn't just out of range, I don't think, but we'll put it right there, slightly over. Okay, so that should, in theory, get these actually building as the resources come in. Now, we are a little low on our timber, I think, and we can see that we are lacking people working down here, and this isn't shocking. We don't have much for homes in this area. So we would need to have common homes that would go like down here. You can see this is in range of all of that. So I'm going to put in a pair of common homes right here. The range issue means that we really have to have things really jumbled together. We need a lot of services. We need a lot of storage locations. We need a lot of homes. We need a lot of workspaces. Everything has to be very, very jumbled together. You can't really have so much districts in this game. So things like this, we should not have in the future. This is something that should be spaced out, kind of like how it is here. You can see there's farms intermixed with the city life. Down here, this is pretty much all farm, but yeah, this is the model that we should be angling for, I think, because things really have to be heavily mixed together. Very organic city design, I think. So that's fine. We're keeping an eye on the Porter Yard here. We do see this Sawyer got built. Okay. So, I mean, that's good. But housing up here is, well, actually, these houses just got built. So that's noted. I want to take in a road back here, like that. And then I want to put in the decorative fruit gardens right there. Okay. So that'll be fine for now. Some of our masons are lacking timber. Yeah, you don't say. We're working on it. We do see that people are now working out over here, although it's only one worker in each of these right now. Oh, the Sawyer's up to 2. Okay, that looks good. So as far as all this up here, we're not seeing this Porter Yard being built at this time. I think that's because this is still yellow range, isn't it? I don't know. Everything looks the same. Maybe. It's hard to tell. This is clearly green range here. It has to be. They're literally right next to each other. So that's definitely useful information. I'd love to see this Porter Yard actually get built, but for the moment we're working on trying to get some of this stuff moved up. And a lot of our resources are still being eaten up by this temple, which is being worked on slowly. Mostly we need stone for that. Yeah, that's mostly what... So we're still working on timber, but we do have more timber production happening now. This Sawyer does not currently have a... It does not currently have anyone working in it. And these homes should be able to get a lot of this going. So that should be reasonably fine. I'm not too concerned about that. This home will be able to reach this Porter Yard. So that sounds okay. But we're having a really hard time getting anything built outside of this periphery. And maybe the issue is porters. Maybe. But I think that the issue might actually, at this point, I think the issue was porters for sure. But at this point, I think the issue might not be porter. Well, porter capacity might be something to do with it. But we need to move a lot of resources from down here, where they're being stored in this Porter Yard, up this way. And we can see that's definitely happening. This Porter Yard is remaining empty. So if we look at this Porter Yard, we can see this currently has some wood, it has some clay, it has some stone in it. And this is probably being used to build this temple. This Porter Yard here has only stone in it. This is also probably being utilized to build this temple. This trading post currently has clay, stone in it, and no trade for timber. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to export timber right now. So that seems reasonably okay. This trading post up over here, it's got, yeah, there's a lack of timber up over this way. Let's accept timber up in this trading post. That's actually probably a big problem here, that we're not accepting timber there. So up here, we definitely want to accept timber, and we want to accept clay and stone. Same here, timber, clay, stone. We're already set up that way here, and then this would be timber, clay, stone, construction materials for now. This trading post can accept the Megui here, and then the Pulk we have no order for. Let's actually just accept that for now. And that seems okay. We're also exporting some cloth here, but we're not... we do have these cloth weavers working, so we are exporting cloth. I think we're net negative financially. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, so we definitely want to get the additional cloth weaver online here. But I think our core issue was that we weren't accepting timber in this trading post. That's my theory. So now that we're accepting timber in this trading post, we should hopefully start to see some of this happening. We should also be accepting clay up here. There we go. So that's our, like, raw construction materials, and I'm hoping that that will solve this issue over time. Perhaps we could use some additional timber production. I'm looking at our current amount of timber in storage and our current amount of clay in storage. We're net positive on clay, and we're slightly positive on timber. So I don't think we really need additional timber in that regard. Okay. We just had a stone import hit, and that's, of course, painful here. Now, I don't feel like we actually had a significant loss of productivity or anything from dropping this down. Maybe that is something that happens, but I didn't feel it when that was down. So let's drop this down and see what our overall balance will end up looking like with the wages very low. So that'll be fine for now. We're slowly working on this temple, but I would love to see... look at this. This guy is actually this lady is currently building this porter yard, although it still requires additional resources up over here. But I'm pretty sure that what we've got right now is we are spreading out these resources and stocking up in various locations. So that looks good. And I do want these set to balance in these areas. So this is set to getting. We'll set this to balance here. This is in a trading post, so no trade yet. Okay, let's have these be set to balance. And then this is going to be set to balance. I want this to all flow and have at least some amount of stockpile in each of these yards. But look at this. This porter yard is now completed. Our Imperial levies have been dispatched for service to Tlatoani. Okay, good. So I want this to be on balance as well. Okay, so there we go. We need to get this temple finished, and we're slowly working on it. This is a significant undertaking to get this built. So that is being worked on, absolutely. And up over here, this porter yard is finished. We can see that commoners, there's a lot of spaces here for commoners to live. So as long as they move into these homes, we should see this porter yard definitely start to be worked in. Now, we already see some stone there, so that's good. But it was delivered by someone else. The porters here are not working now. But yeah, we're starting to get this constructed up here. I think that the problem was that we didn't accept any clay or timber here. Let's set these to balance. There we go. So that looks good. That looks absolutely wonderful. So we're actually starting to get some of this going at this point. We need workers up here, but we're actually getting the construction underway. This porter yard will be very useful for that, for sure. So the issue, I think, was resource flow. Our resources were bottlenecking back here and weren't really moving up this way due to this trading post not accepting these material types. That's the theory. This porter is now completed up over here, and it even has an employee. So that looks great. That means that we're now going to be able to start working up over here. Okay. So we have good amounts of stone in all of our locations. I'm pleased with that. However, our gods are displeased by their neglection. So we should probably do something about that. Who was that who was displeased? Quetzalcoatl and this guy. Okay. So we can put up a shrine somewhere over maybe this direction. This is average symmetry. This is good symmetry. Did I see a strong? Yes. That's a strong symmetry. So we'll do that. And then we also needed a shrine to this guy. So this is good symmetry up here. Awful. Weak. Awful. What is it down over this way? Weak, average, good. Here's a strong. Yeah, we'll put it in right over here. So that'll be fine. It'll take a little bit to get those built, but that should help matters. And that'll give us a little bit more religious coverage as well. So that seems wonderful. Enemies are on the march. They're coming from the west. Now we have no borders here, right? No walls. They're going to be coming from out over here, and we will handle those when they come. So if we wanted to recruit these, yeah, we can recruit all of these. I don't want to do that right now. I just wanted to see if we could do that while they're checked for Empire service, and apparently we can. So that looks good. So we're working on things. We're going to have to provide tribute to Tlatoani, which is going to be maize, of course. And that is down over here. We've got plenty in stock. So where's this attack going to come from? And I'm also thinking about how we might defend this border. It's pretty wide open. We might be better off just enclosing our city. I don't know. Or we could just not. Okay, so the invading enemies have arrived. So let's go ahead and group up our guys out over here. They'll come on over. We obtained a captive as plunder. Oh, okay. That's cool. So that's someone that we can probably sacrifice. We can see our temple is actually starting to make some progress here. We don't see the shrines as being built yet. That's understood. And all of our lads are coming on out over this way. This is this is not going to go well for their attacking force, I fear. Okay, so we're going to redeploy these guys to be like right up over here. We don't necessarily want to let them have the high ground though. So maybe we should just chill here and let them come on in. This guy's not joining them. He's hanging out. Okay, cool. So that seems fine. And at this point, the question is, do we have a lack of anything? Well, if we have a lack of anything, I think it's really going to be timber. So we could definitely target some additional timber out over this way. If we were to extend this road down a little bit and then link it in here, and then put a sawyer somewhere up over this direction, with the idea of getting some of these trees, maybe even running it down over this way. But I'd have a feeling that this is going to have a porter issue. Yeah, it absolutely would have a porter issue. So we could put in a sawyer down here, and then we would need to have a porter yard about here to be able to further deliver that. That is... I'm trying to see what the setup over here would be. This would be better. Yeah, right here. Okay, so something like that. It's awkward to have them this close together, but, you know, it is what it is. We could also actually cancel this, and we could put in a road here like this, and then put our porter yard closer to down here. That's not showing a connection, though, over here. It probably would update. So something about like that. Yeah, we'll do that for now. Okay, so we're going to be fighting these guys. They're pretty disorganized, and this is going very poorly for them. They're not retreating yet. So let's move in over this direction. because we're going to need to get a little bit more aggressive. We took care of 2/5 of them. Oh, here's a third. Okay, we took care of, yeah, 2/5 of them. I was right. Okay, so they are now running away. Looks good. We can now disband our formation. So back we go, and we have successfully defended our city here. That looks good. Our population does need to come up a little bit, and we need to finish some of these buildings out over here. Now, this tax collector is here for now. This porter yard is working. I think that our main issue up over this way is that we just need to move resources up. And I'm looking at the range of this porter yard here. And I'm wishing that it had a connection with this porter yard. It just doesn't. Well, I mean, it does, but it's the smaller connection, right? So I feel like that's the core issue there. A porter yard down over here might not be terrible, but again, that would be a poor connection. This one really should be connected in this direction, and we're working on it. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to continue to work on getting this area developed up. It's getting better, but it's not exactly where we want to be yet. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.